Hi there. In this video, we'll be discussing how to use YCharts' new Scenario Builder tool, which allows for custom scenario creation, including contributions and withdrawals. To get started, go ahead and select the Scenarios tool from your main menu dropdown. At this point, I'll point your attention over to the left-hand panel, which is where we'll be making some selections to build the scenario that we'd like to see. To get started, let's click into that first security type box. At this point, you can add in any security that we offer through YCharts, whether that's a mutual fund, an ETF, or even a stock. Keep in mind you can also load in an advisor's model portfolio that you've uploaded to YCharts via our model portfolio tool. The next selection here will be to choose what you'd like to compare. In this example, I'll be using a balanced ETF model portfolio. The next selection here allows you to choose what you'd like to compare this security to, whether that's the default benchmark that the security is assigned or another benchmark. You can certainly enter that in here. For our purposes today, I'll flip that setting over to the assigned benchmark. And then we'll want to go ahead and start entering in the start date and the end date for this scenario. Clicking into this first type box, you can certainly use the calendar select tool here. I'm going to go ahead and enter in January 1st, 2017. And then for the end date, I will select December 31st, 2020. Finally, we can go ahead and load in an initial investment level. And for our purposes today, we'll start off with 100,000. At this point, we can go ahead and start adding in these specific scenarios we'd like to see. Go ahead and click that plus add a scenario hyperlink. And this will allow us to scroll down. The first step here is to title that scenario. We'll then want to go ahead and select the scenario type, either a withdrawal or a contribution. I'll go ahead and select contribution here. And then we'll go ahead and enter in the data type, whether that's a percentage or value. I'll go ahead and decide to do a contribution of 2%. And we're going to set that at a specific frequency. In that drop-down arrow, you can see we can select either monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, annually, or one time. Let's go ahead and flip that over to monthly. And then the last step here before we add the scenario is to enter in a start date as well as an end date. For that start date, I'm just going to go ahead and run with the example we've been using and enter in January 1st, 2017. And then at that point, I can go ahead and select the end date. Let's say we'd like that scenario to end when the actual scenario is ending. So if you recall, that was December 31st, 2020. Once we have all this in here, we can go ahead and click Add in the lower right-hand corner to lock in the scenario. Keep in mind, you can also add more than one scenario. So I could certainly add another scenario, maybe withdrawals, whether that's one time, monthly, quarterly, etc. Once I'm done, I can hit that create button or calculate button at the very bottom of the page here. And what we're seeing on the main screen, looking at that chart at the very top, is a chart that's showing us the net contributions and withdrawals in that blue staggered line. We can also see the balanced ETF portfolio in the purple line, as well as the benchmark that we selected in the orange line. If you'd like to remove the benchmark comparison, just go ahead and uncheck that box. And the same goes for the net contributions and withdrawals if you don't want to see those on the chart. If I scroll down here, we'll be able to take a look at some other data types, looking at a nice bar chart here for our net contributions and withdrawals. As you can see, I can flip that over from monthly to quarterly or annually to see different schedules. And then finally, at the very bottom of the screen here, we can go ahead and take a look at what those actual start values, net contributions, and end values look like, either on that monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. Another great feature here in the Scenario Builder is that you can save any scenario that you build down to your account so that you can access it at a later time. To do so, I'll go ahead and click into that Scenario Builder dropdown, select Save As, and we'll be able to title that. Once I click Save As, just as you would in any other tool in YCharts, you'll certainly be able to access the tool again and then select that Open icon to view your folder. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you do have any questions about our new Scenario Builder or any other YCharts tools and features, please reach out to your dedicated support representative.